Hey, Shrewdness fans. Welcome to another incredible, amazing, astonishing episode of the Shrewdness. Here we are after week 5. We all still have our heads, meaning Pruitt and I. And
I have a pumpkin outside. That's good enough. I have a fake head that has a face on it.
we're super excited though because we are into the thick of guillotine season and we're heading into bye weeks. We're also headed into major injury fest part of the season, which is happening like crazy. Right and left, people are dropping. You got to know who you can add, who you should be looking at. We're going to give you all that info. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about the week that was. Dex, you want to give us some background on what happened this week?
Yeah. So let's just kind of talk with the stuff that the fantasy owners out there want to know the most. So guillotine. Marion Hampton, your running back that had a clear leg now that Najee Harris was out for the year. Well, he hurt his ankle. So he's on the IR. So it was great. Your one game almost where you got to have, well, I guess it was second game. He had a really good week last week. So that one hurt. We had Brock Bowers. That one hurt you. So if you didn't have your late scratch tight end ready to go, because I know some people in some leagues were scrambling.
And I know a lot of people have their late scratch tight end ready to go every week. So
I did. So I had one of Chisholm's favorite guys that we pulled up out of the grave in honor of Halloween.
That's
Darren
right.
Waller, who's been good 2 weeks in a row now. So Waller came through and was my Bowers fill-in. So that was
Bro's a
helpful.
legit target these days.
It was. Yeah. Then there's the worst case, and that's the Brenton Strange. So Brenton Strange had his one catch on the first series of the game, I believe, 23-yard grab and looking great. And then, like, where did he go? Because he was one of our prop bets for our Monday night game with the Chiefs and Jaguars. Hurt. So he had a hip injury that turned into soft tissue. So now it's soft tissue and it's a quad.
Soft tissue.
And he's on the IR. So you just lost your tight end who is leading the team, leading Jacksonville with receptions, not yards, but he had a lot of yards too.
I think it's yards too.
Yeah, I keep thinking it should be Brian Thomas Jr., but as we know, if you've been listening the last couple of weeks, probably not. And then Trey Benson. So right after some owners in some leagues, maybe Pruitt, bid plenty of money to get the starting running back for Arizona, promptly to the IR on the day after bids were announced.
Within hours.
Within hours of that pick. They couldn't have reported that a little bit earlier. Come on.
Surely it didn't just sneak up on him. Anyway, so Antonio Gibson, another one went down. So he was pretty much getting backup carries for New England behind Rafumble Stevenson and Antonio Gibson. So maybe Trevion Henderson can now get touches more than 4 or 5. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe.
But that's another big loss. Some big question marks. So obviously Lamar Jackson and Brock Purdy didn't play last week. Kyler Murray now has an ankle. So all 3 of those guys are questionable for this week. Bucky Irving doesn't look like he's going to play again this week. So that one hurt last week. Chuba Hubbard, he may have just got, what's that? Is it pesky? What was that dude? Like the famous baseball saying where your replacement played for you and you got sniped. So Rico Dowdle has just made Carolina a committee. So even if Chuba Hubbard comes back after 200 yards, which we'll talk about here in a minute, Chuba, you better come back quick, buddy, or you may be a permanent backup.
I've got the Gainwell and Warren situation going on. I got Warren on my team, and Gainwell played really well the week that he was out.
He did.
There's a lot of those timeshares, and at the running back position, it's a killer, and it's brutal because we all have them because it's almost impossible to not have a running back who doesn't have a timeshare anymore. But if you could get one that doesn't, it's like gold, man. It's absolute gold.
It is. Few and far between in today's NFL. Some wide receivers that you're going to have to just keep watching during the course of the week. Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings for the Niners. You're going with Mac Jones and some scrubs. And Kendrick Bourne, reborn. Like how in the God's green earth did you do so well? And Jake Tongas. But I guess at the end of the day, like, well, they have CMC. I know.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Yeah. Even though he can't. I don't know what's up with the rushing.
And when like 70% of the plays go to him, I guess.
Yeah. Right. It looks like old school Carolina when he was there with Cam Newton, right? You just pass it to him. He has like, 6 to 8 catches a week now.
It's like playing Tecmo with Bo Jackson.
It is.
Anybody playing against them should know it's going to Bo Jackson every play, and it still goes to him, and they still get yards.
Doesn't matter.
Even if he called the Marcus
Crazy.
play, it's going to Bo.
Yeah.
It's insane how many times I was watching some of their game and like he, like you said, Dex said he's not having that good of a year running, but it's like they keep throwing him the ball in the backfield. So I'm like, maybe cover him out of the back. Every time he comes out of the backfield and he's like wide open.
Wide open.
Over
It's
here.
They aren't covering me again.
It's
unreal.
an automatic 5 yards and a catch. It's 1.5 points every play. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And they just keep covering Tongas instead. I don't know. They're getting beat.
Double Tongas.
CeeDee Lamb is another one that is, I don't know. I don't think he plays this week again, but he might. I guess they haven't ruled him out yet. So CeeDee Lamb is a big maybe. Terry McLaurin, another guy that's fantasy owners want him back, but I'm not sure about him either. Yeah, those are both solid questionables as well. On the tight end front, you got Brock Bowers, Brenton Strange on the IR, Johnny Smith, not sure. I mean, he's coming off the bye week. I think he's probably fine now, but who knows? So that's kind of like where we're sitting with the newest injuries. So we're not going to rehash all the old ones because you're already tracking those. But these are the ones fresh off the press as of time of recording. The other one I want to hit you guys up on. So I don't know if it's newsworthy or not. It's newsworthy. I guess impact or not is the better word. Joe Flacco traded to Cincinnati. It sounds like Jake Browning is going to be benched this week. But
why?
Green Bay. It's at Green Bay. It's not the best matchup for an old quarterback with a bad offensive line. I mean, if you could drop a recipe that says disaster at the end, more than that, I don't know. Are you rushing out to get Joe Flacco this week?
If you have a strong desire to get rid of some draft picks and throw some money away, hire an old quarterback to play against Green Bay.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Going to work out well.
That's terrible.
Right. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the thought is there, other than the fact that, I mean, Joe Flacco has overperformed for a 40-year-old quarterback, maybe. So maybe if you're rating him on a scale, he's better.
It's not like he was good, though, right? I mean, it's not like he was.
He's always been kind of there, league average, and then he's remained league average, I suppose. And people are like, wow, he's still league average? He's 40. So it seems like he's better than he is. Maybe. I don't know.
I think it's kind of a overreaction to be excited for him to go there behind that line. I think he's less mobile than Browning.
Yes.
I mean, Pruitt, do you see any chance of success here?
They're going to have to practice their wide receiver screens and slant routes this week.
Totally.
Because they're going to have about a second and a half to throw every play. And Chase Brown is going to get obliterated. So I don't know. It just sounds like a grasping at straws that's not going to end well to me. But
that's right.
That's why they play the
really,
games,
really
I guess.
Does.
We'll see.
This is kind of fun. We'll get to our gambling stuff at the end, but just the line on that game is 14.5 points. Green Bay. That's kind of like, and the thing is,
a lot of points.
The over-under is 44. So when you just kind of extrapolate that out, they're not looking at a lot of scoring from Cincinnati.
Oh, they could get blown out like 24-10 and still cover.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, they could.
All right, so I want to go into our sinners and saints just kind of so we can talk about some of the players, get our opinions on them. So some of the saints, we'll start with the good ones this week. So Laporta, we've been kind of bagging on this guy for the last couple of weeks. 5 for 92 with a touchdown. Are you guys now on board that he's back? He is 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Sam Laporta. Or are you still just like, nope, there's still a lot of mouths to feed, and that just happened to be his game?
Yes.
Yep.
Option number 2.
I'm taking number 2.
Still
it's
low.
A flash in the pan. I mean, everybody's going to have a good game now and then, but I don't think it's sustainable.
He still does not look very fast to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of with you. I'm not going to rush out. I mean, he's probably not on too many chop lists, so when your tight end gives you that many points, you're usually pretty good. Stephon Diggs, so he helped some owners out this week. 10 for 146. Great game, revenge game, whatever you want to call it, but he looked fine to me. So I know he's not – I don't even think he's a year on his ACL from last year. I think that was like a week 8 thing, wasn't it? So the fact that –
I don't think – that's right.
Something like that. I mean, it's around a year. He looks good. So I think you can plug him in the lineups and feel pretty darn confident about it. I think he's trending up each week. He looks more and more like himself. And he's clearly the number one target. And it wasn't just because it was a revenge game against the Bills. Some of the quarterbacks that helped you out: Matt Stafford, Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott, all threw 4 and 3 touchdowns respectively, all up near 400. For at least Stafford and Darnold. I think Dak was in the 200s, but still. Egbuka, this rookie, we told you before the season, this is the one we really liked. And we thought he could be one of the best. Okay, I didn't think he'd be this good. But I do remember saying to Chisholm when he said, I don't know about this and about the third wideout. And I just did a funny little comparison to Randy Moss. Like, he turned out pretty good his rookie year behind 2 really good wideouts. And holy crap, 7 for 163 and a touchdown. And where did you say he was sitting on wide receiver rankings right now, Chiz?
Number 3. He's number 3 most scoring wide receivers in fantasy this year.
That's incredible. I think, again, we talked about him last week being an in-game wideout. I don't think it's premature, and every week he keeps proving us right. So until otherwise, Godwin's back, and you can say, well, Mike Evans comes back, it'll definitely go down. Okay, so you're not going to throw to your best guy even when Mike Evans comes back. He's going to get his. Don't worry about it. But Egbuka's going to play drawn for him.
It's going to be more opportunities for them to score. I think it'll be like lighting a candle with a candle. They're both going to end up with flames on them.
Yeah.
Right.
This is going to help Baker, who's having, it's kind of hard to say out loud just because MVP candidate. Is he not? He has to be in the running.
Yeah.
And just check his stats. Check his wins. He just keeps winning.
Keep winning.
Yeah. They're playing well.
He went on the road to Seattle and beat the 12s. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
And Seattle's got a good defense, and they hung, 38 points?
Yeah, 35 to 38,
that's a
I think.
That's a big win on the road against it. That's a good defense. Seattle's
he's the 3rd highest scoring quarterback in fantasy this year. So,
and Egbuka's a lot to do with that.
Was he number 2 last year? At least for a majority of the season?
Yeah, he was
for a lot of the
definitely top
season.
5. He certainly finished top 5.
He ended 4. Yeah.
Yeah, but with Evans out and Bucky Irving out, and you're playing Rashad White and a kind of a Frankenfoot Godwin, I think that's just pretty impressive what Baker's doing with that team.
Yeah.
And we're not throwing to Kate Otten. Why would we throw to Kate Otten? Definitely not going to throw to our tight end.
That's right.
All right, a couple other ones. These are the super obvious. So if you accidentally got Rico Dowdle to backfill Chuba Hubbard being out, wow, you got a gift of a gift. 200 yards, a touchdown, 3 catches, and 28 yards. Rico by himself took you into the next week in guillotine leagues. Did you guys have any Rico stock, or did you just get to watch everybody else have them?
Man, I wish. I actually considered picking him up in a league.
I think Rico outscored both of my running backs in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think he did that to a lot of people last week.
For sure. That was wild.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor, another one, had a great week. 3 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor is a man on a mission right now. And this is what he can do when he's healthy. It's not without precedent. He's done it a couple different seasons.
He's really consistent, too.
He is.
Think about him.
Speaking of guys that get the ball all the time, DJ Giddens has just been, a handful of carries a game, and it's not substantial. It's just a breather because Jonathan Taylor just ran 25 yards, 20 yards, and 10, needs a break.
Yep.
He comes in for a carry, and then Jonathan Taylor bangs it in the end zone. So he's just killing it. Bill Krosky, so the guy that we mocked at the beginning, saying the 7th-round guy, why they even put a draft pick on him, boy, were we wrong. So Bill Krosky, 111, 2 touchdowns. Rodriguez didn't really do anything. McNichols didn't do anything. It's his backfield. I think that's pretty clear. You guys, what's your confidence meter on Bill Krosky moving forward?
Brian Robinson has to be like, what did I do wrong? This is terrible.
Right?
Yeah.
How did I get outed for the 7th-round pick? And then you're like, well, maybe this guy is legit.
And he got traded to go back up CMC.
Christian McCaffrey.
So,
right.
And I'm not going to get any carries here either.
And he's going to go the 1 year Christian McCaffrey is an Iron Man.
The end.
Right.
Go back up the guy that's hurt every year, except he's going to be the healthiest on the team this year.
And when you look at San Francisco's roster, they're all out. All the starters are out. McCaffrey's like, you guys are a bunch of facades. It's not that hard to stay vertical, boys. stretch a little bit, man. It's called stretching. What the
Come
hell?
on.
That's awesome. Kyron Williams hooked up his owners with a huge game. 65 yards rushing. You're like, that's not that bad. But he had 8 catches for 66 more and 2 receiving touchdowns.
2 touchdowns,
so Kyron Williams with a massive game. Jamar Chase, everybody that spent money on him last. Yeah, go ahead. What's that?
I just said go Domers.
Golden Domers, yeah. Jamar Chase, so everybody that spent a ludicrous amount on him to get him, he paid off at least for 1 week. I would not hold my breath. You're going to get a repeat performance this week at Green Bay with Joe Flacco potentially there. But, hey, you got your 6 for 110 and 2 touchdowns. Nice work, Jamar, getting something. Ferguson, 7 for 49, 2 touchdowns for Dallas. And then Rachaad White, 41 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then 4 catches for 30. Filling in for Bucky Irving. He hooked his owners up as well. So those are some of the Saints that carried their teams to victories and kept their heads on, which leads us to the ones who did.
One more honorable mention. Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
Had 6 for 110 and a touchdown. Filling in for Tyreek. He stepped into that number 1 role. He
looked like a stud in that game, right?
That was against a Carolina defense that was pretty stout normally.
Yeah.
So then we go into the sinners, and these are the ones that are probably available in your league. In our league, unfortunately, the person that got chopped, I think he had 3 of them. So his starting running backs were James Cook and Travis Etienne, which every week has been just gold, Jerry. It's been gold. But this week, 49 yards for James Cook, no touchdowns, broke his streak of, was it 8 straight games with a touchdown or something like that?
With a touchdown.
Franchise record.
And no catches.
Then Travis Etienne, 49 yards.
Right.
Just nothing. So the Chiefs kind of kept him in check, all things considered. That hurts. And then to put the final casing on our guy, he also had Brenton Strange. Had 1 for 22 and then got hurt in the first quarter and was out.
The dreaded first quarter injury as a fantasy player is absolutely brutal.
It is. That one hurts. At least Marion Hampton for his owners did it in the fourth quarter, and it had at least some stats to get you over double digits. But that's a killer. Other notable ones this week, Zach Ertz with a donut. He's been producing every week, but not this week. Jameson Williams, 1 catch for 9 yards. Woof. And that was after last week, a huge performance. And that's what I think you were talking about this last week, Chisholm. Jameson Williams is one of those boomer bust guys. Boy, this is what the bust looks like.
Yep.
It gets you chopped. And that's why it's hard to have these guys.
And I started him this week. So I survived.
You did a ton of points from Patty to get by, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara continues to be not dependable, at least for high scores. We saw this coming.
Done? Do we think he's done?
No, the problem is they're not throwing him the ball. He's normally good for 6 catches a game or something, and their offense is
weird.
Retooled away from him, which is crazy.
Right.
I mean, it's the Spencer Rattler system, and
that's right.
Spencer Rattler is even playing bad. I mean, Rattler's not turning the ball over. It's just
he's not.
It's just flat Coke. It's like he opened a Coke 4 days ago, and that's the New Orleans Saints offense. It's just flat.
Well,
nothing there, no bubbles.
Derek Carr's longtime nickname, Captain Checkdown. Right? That's why Kamara. That's why Kamara got so many catches over the last 3 or 4 years.
He got fed, man.
And now you got somebody with a real arm who's a little less experienced and more willing to take some chances, and he's not getting the ball.
Well, he is throwing to Rashid Shaheed. I mean, Shaheed had that huge catch.
Just Olave.
73-yard touchdown, though. That was the huge one. Or 87, I think it was. It was a humongous one.
87.
It was a huge one. Yeah. And that was basically his whole stat line. So I think he threw for 225 yards, but 87 on one play, which always helps. And so I think the other question I want to hit you guys up with is Juwan Johnson's kind of had a couple back-to-back, and he was on everybody's like, woo, Juwan Johnson's a little cheat code down there. He's getting all the balls.
Right.
We still think that after his 2 for 17 performance, and I believe last week wasn't much better. Do you guys still believe in Juwan Johnson, or are you just like, well, that was a pretty good early September? I am no longer interested in Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, I was never on the Juwan Johnson train personally.
Yeah.
he's been around long enough that he would have shown up by now if he was a real thing. So I think it was just good
I
fortune
think
those
that's
first few
right,
games.
Prue. I think that's right. Like he maybe had the right matchup the first couple games. I mean, he's not bad. He's an NFL tight end, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
he's not a top third tight end. So hopefully you traded high.
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
absolutely. 2 for 17, another killer though. If you're counting on him to get some stats out of there, hope 3.7 got you through. I hope that worked out.
Right.
RJ Harvey's another one. I want to hear your thoughts on him. It just continues to be J.K. Dobbins.
That's another one of my guys, RJ Harvey. Gee,
All right,
Christmas.
Chisholm. So you got him. Are you confident in keeping him moving forward? Or are you
No,
going to just bench guys from here on out?
He's super annoying. He's supposed to be the juice, right?
He's supposed
like
to be the Trevion Henderson of Denver.
Yeah,
and he
totally.
is. He's perfect.
He's exactly what he is. I got this guy thinking there's tons of upside and he's going to break off a few long runs a game and maybe a couple touchdowns here and there, but it's like he hasn't broken anything. I mean, I've watched a few of their games. He is quick and he's got ability, but he's not going to get fed enough.
No,
so
lack of just
I'm ready to trade. Anyone wants RJ Harvey, I'm listening. Although he is very valuable because he has a lot of upside.
Yeah, is there a crickets button, Pruitt, to hit so we can wait for everybody that's going to throw in those
got Blake
offers?
Corum, who's good for at least 2 carries a game. Unless he fumbles his first carry, then he goes on the bench and stays. So
totally.
On the same kind of deal, and just was kind of talking about Trevion Henderson. What do you guys think of him? Pruitt, are you in on Trevion Henderson, or do you think he's closer to RJ Harvey, or do you think he's on the verge of more carries now that Gibson's out?
I think he took a trend upward this week. Unfortunately, with Gibson's injury, I think that forces them to get Trevion more involved. He's continuing to prove that he can hold on to the ball better than Ramondre can.
Well, it's not hard. You just hold on to the ball.
I can too.
If you don't fumble every 4th carry, then you should get more carries. He's got a better chance of taking a step forward over RJ Harvey. So if I were Vrabel, I would continue to get him more and more involved.
Yep. Chisholm, where are you at on him? You already have one of these mercurial running backs that has talent but no opportunity. Would you dare put Trevion Henderson on your team with RJ Harvey?
I'll say I would rather have Trevion than RJ right now. I think he's going to have more opportunities for sure, like Pruitt said. So if you're going to have to keep one of these poop sticks on your team, then I would hope that Trevion would be the one you have, because I don't think RJ's doing anything unless JK comes up lame.
Yeah, the biggest surprise to me with Trevion is how he's not being more involved in the passing game. Like, how does he only get 2 catches? That's
I'd love to see some wheel routes out of that dude. That would be fun.
Anything. The flat passes. We just talked about how CMC's always open. I promise that play works for everybody. Just run Trevion into the flat and let him run really fast, and 2 will catch it.
One guy misses.
One linebacker misses. He's got 12 yards easy, right? And he's fast enough he can take it to the house.
I just keep waiting Josh McDaniels to do that play, and it just never happens. So is what it is. Another one, like one we liked a lot, Woody Marks last week or 2 weeks ago, looked really good. Got the opportunities, got 17 carries. And then in a blowout win at Baltimore, where I expected, here comes Woody. No, man, he had 24 yards. That was it. They ran a 3rd string and a 4th string against Baltimore. I mean, that's either just, you guys are so crappy, we're not even going to waste our backup on you guys. We're going to go off the scout team and run those guys and use their reps against them. And it worked. They just didn't need him at all. So I don't know if I'm exactly worried about Woody Marks. They were up huge. And Baltimore got a couple touchdowns at the end, but not really anything to put the game remotely in doubt. Here's one I need your guys' opinion on. Tell our Shrewdness listeners out there, what do they do with Derrick Henry? 33 yards. 33 yards. That's, 3 weeks out of 5? He hasn't even cracked. I don't even know if he's cracked.
Problem is when you're down 2 touchdowns every time you get the ball, there's not a lot of patience to run it.
The
question I would have
or he
would
doesn't
be,
catch.
and he can't catch. Question I would have is, if I were the Ravens, what do you do with Derrick Henry? There's a lot of value right there. Do you think, would they ever consider a trade here? Would they ever be like, so. You know what? I don't either, but
it's fun if you're playing Madden, but when you got real life humans, there's no way you're doing it. In Madden, I'm trading them, no doubt. Let's go.
Now.
Get some defense because you just lost your whole defensive starters. Give me a D tackle for Nnamdi.
Right.
But after his first week, 18 for 169, 2 touchdowns. Since then, 11 for 23, 12 for 50. That's his next best game. 8 for 42, 15 for 33. I mean, that is 2-point junk per carry. And I knew he used to be a tough matchup. I thought it would. I said defense will travel. They got a good run D, but I didn't see that. I mean, geez.
No.
2 yards a carry. That's brutal. I mean, he got in the end zone. That's the only reason anyone got anything out of him.
Yeah, he scored 4 touchdowns on the year. But after week 1, it's like a whole lot of just cloud of dust.
I feel like if you have Derrick Henry, you're pot committed and you're kind of screwed. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't know. He has no trade value right now.
You're trading at the bottom.
I've said even last year, he's great on weeks that he can run the ball, but he gets so few targets. In a PPR league, though, he's really not very valuable, in my opinion. There's just so many other options.
Yeah.
That's right.
A catch for 0 yards versus a 10-yard run is easy. So you get 10 targets a game. I mean, it's no brainer.
That's a great point, Pruitt. So Chase Brown has been just as anemic on the ground running the ball, but he had 7 catches last week.
Yeah.
And even it's like 7 for 20 yards, but that's 9 points. You got 9 points. So that's a big difference.
Receiving back, it's a big difference.
Absolutely. I mean, Kyron Williams, like we talked about for our Saints, I mean, 8 catches for 66 yards. So if you would have just had only 65 in the touchdown, like, that's not that good. But you do the rest, you're up in your 30 freaking points. And that's just the difference between backs that catch balls and don't. And he only had 1 target last game for Derrick Henry, too. And Justice Hill didn't do much either.
The first guy that revolutionized the position with this that I remember was Marshall Faulk. And I remember I had Marshall Faulk one year, and I was like the ultimate hack in fantasy. It was like, no one can touch me because I have Marshall Faulk, and he's going to get 30 points a game. He's going to have all kinds of receiving yards. So fun to watch. And now you see the guys in that vein are super, super valuable.
Yeah.
And hard to find.
LT back in the day, Ricky Waters back in the day.
Yep.
Those dudes just got it. So those are our sinners and saints. I think
I have a new segment I want to introduce, Dex.
Let's do it, Chiz. What we got?
All right. So we're 5 weeks in. This segment, I've thought a lot about this. This segment is called You Should Have Saved Your Draft Pick, Jackass. Okay? So that's the name of the segment. And what we're going to do is we're going to make all of you feel really bad, including me. And we're going to talk about guys that you drafted really high, thinking that you were set because you drafted them, and who you could have waited and taken who scored more points than them. Okay?
Off the free agent wire.
Okay, let's start with the quarterback position. We'll go quickly here. You drafted Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Should have saved your draft pick, jackass. Because you could have had Daniel Jones, who has more fantasy points this year than Lamar Jackson. That's right, Daniel Jones, who probably went undrafted in your league, you could have had. Instead, you wasted that first rounder on who was supposed to be your saving grace.
Jackass.
Same thing. Jackass. You drafted Jordan Love. This was his year. You could have had, instead, Spencer Rattler.
You still could have Spencer Rattler.
You still could have Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, go get him.
Right? Because you saw the upside. And you saw what he did last year, Jaden Daniels. Now, I know he's been hurt. However, you got more fantasy value out of Mac Jones. That's right. Mac Jones has scored more fantasy points
Light it up,
than Jaden Daniels this week.
Up.
Yeah, right? Now, let's look at running backs. If you didn't feel bad enough, jackass, here's some guys that you drafted early in the draft because they were going to be your saving grace. How about you wanted Breece Hall. You saw the upside in Breece Hall. He was a top 5 guy, right? A couple years ago. He was going to come back. Well, you could have drafted him, or Or you could have saved your draft pick, jackass, and drafted Cam Scattaboo, who's got 3 more fantasy points than Brees Hall. Or even better, you drafted Derrick Henry. We were just talking about old Derrick, right? Sure
King
thing,
Henry.
man. Lock that guy down. Saved your draft pick, jackass. You could have drafted Bill. Bill has more points than Derrick Henry.
Krosky Barrett.
How do you feel now? You feel good so far? You feeling good about these picks that you made that were genius of you that you had?
Just give me some
figured
wideout.
out?
Who did I get?
I'll give you some wideouts. This is the last thing we're going to do. We'll do wideouts.
Oh, this is going to be painful. I know one that's going to be on the list.
It will be.
McConkey. And
It absolutely will. You drafted Deebo Samuel because he is the man, and he was going to play with Jane Daniels. Well, jackass, you could have drafted George Pickens because he has more wide receiver points. Hey, how about this one? Jamar Chase, he's the number 1 overall pick, right? You got to take him 1. Or you could have saved your draft pick and taken Quentin Johnston. Mr. Dropsy. Mr. Dropsy has more points than Jamar Chase so far. Right?
That's painful.
I mean, hey, Zay Flowers, the number 1 wide receiver on the Ravens. Or take Trey Tucker. Because he's got the same number of points. Actually, 2 more points than Zay Flowers so far.
Ouch.
I mean, you got to feel good about yourself, right? At week 5, you're thinking, I'm set up. I got these guys. We're locked down. But instead, this is what happens to you. Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper.
Yeah.
He's the deep threat in that offense. And they're the defending Super Bowl champs. I took him pretty early, and I should have saved my draft pick, jackasses, because I could have had Tyquan Thornton, who now has the same number of points as Devontae Smith. That's right.
Yeah.
Tyquan Thornton, wide receiver 8 on the Chiefs, has more points than Tyquan Thornton. I mean, Lad McConkey.
That one hurts.
Lad McConkey. Number 1 guy, right? He is about as sure as they could get when it comes to bringing in those points.
Carrying the team to victory this year.
Or you could let him go, get 5 more points, and draft Troy Franklin.
I love Troy Franklin.
Who's Troy Franklin?
Wow.
Troy Franklin. Same for Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr., same thing. Could have had Troy Franklin. Just as good. A.J. Brown. Less than Troy Franklin. A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, Lad McConkey, and Brian Thomas Jr. all less points than Troy Franklin.
That's fun.
So, when you're thinking you're a genius.
Just what about Xavier Worthy?
Xavier Worthy? You want to know Xavier Worthy? I'll tell you what you could have with Xavier Worthy.
You could have.
You could have let Xavier Worthy go. And you could have Olamide Zacchaeus. Olamide Zacchaeus gives you the same number of points as Xavier Worthy 5 weeks in.
Yeah. It was
Isn't this fun? Isn't fantasy fun?
I love fantasy.
You drafted the shiny object, the Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter.
Love it.
Well, you could have kept your draft pick, jackass, and instead drafted Kavontae Turpin, who's got more points. Kavontae Turpin of the vaunted Dallas Cowboys has now outscored not only Travis Hunter, but Jerry Jeudy, Mike Evans, Jordan Addison. Yes, that list is all the guys that you drafted ahead of Kavontae Turpin. So with the next time you think you're a fantasy genius, or the next time you listen to us and you think we're fantasy geniuses, we'll have a segment.
Just know my team has Turpin, Franklin, have all these guys. I drafted them all.
Every now and again, we'll revisit who you could have had and who you took. So that little segment, recurring every 7 or 8 weeks or so, we'll call it Keep Your Draft Picks Jackass. Hope you enjoy it.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Chisholm. Love it. I feel much worse now than I did earlier. This is exactly what we're supposed to do, I think. So now let's go into kind of we are getting into bye weeks. We're going to have some shrewd moves for you. So bye week Band-Aids. And we're going to just kind of give you a few at each position to help you get through some bye weeks or some injuries to keep your head on. So we kind of already talked about one, Spencer Rattler.
I gotta cut in, and I gotta give myself honorable mention as we start this segment. I had Bijan Robinson and Jalen Warren on bye, and my backup running backs were Blake Corum and Brian Robinson, who neither one have scored more than like 6 points all year, right? So I had to go get somebody. I thought I had Benson, who immediately went on IR. I thought I was hosed this week, but I pulled out Rashard Smith, who got me a measly 6 points, but it was way better than a 0, and I survived. And now I have Bijan and Jalen Warren the rest of the season through their bye weeks and all that. So
that's what you got to do.
You
got to sneak through your buys. That's what you got to do. Sneak through your buys. That's the toughest part of guillotine. And if you have early buys, it's really tough.
Yeah, I want to hit you up on what do you do if, for example, there's a couple decent running backs with some high pedigree available, but their bye weeks are coming up. Like James Cook. Let's just jump right into one. James Cook is going to be available in a lot of leagues because of his performance last week, but his bye week is week 7. Do you spend the money for 1 week and then know he's going to be on bye right after that and have to find someone else? I mean, you have to bid something, but how much do you discount him in a situation like that? So Chisholm, if you have James Cook and you have somebody, right? I mean, maybe you're not in Pruitt's situation where you got both your running backs back off of bye, living the dream. And if you have no one injured, maybe you don't have Irving or Hubbard, and you need them. Like, what are you willing to bid on James Cook, knowing he's immediately going to go and buy the next week?
No, that's right. So this is where you gotta. This is one of the things we talk about a lot: the difference in traditional fantasy and guillotine fantasy. Because you think, oh, James Cook, I gotta get James Cook. I want James Cook on my team. Well, got news for you: your team will not be here if you spend too much on James Cook. So you're gonna enjoy James Cook for a week if you're not thinking ahead. So you got to be thinking about, who do I have week 7? Now, if you got 2 guys you feel good about in week 7, and he's going to be an upgrade after that, you could probably get aggressive. But if you're going to need to fill a hole,
yes,
because of James Cook, you got to discount him pretty significantly. And that's the hard part to get your mind around when you're thinking about guillotine, because you just see a shiny object and you're like, I got to get him and I'll spend what I need. And what's he worth? He's worth nothing to you in week 7. That's what he's worth.
Yeah.
0.
Right.
So, like, that's how you got to change your thinking, and it's really difficult because he's a great player. Last week aside, he's a great player. You want him on your team. He's going to start every week, but you have to discount him, and you've got to think about roster management and what you're going to have in week 7.
Because right now he's running back 4, so RB4 on the list, right ahead of Gibbs, and behind CMC, Jonathan Taylor, and Javonte Williams. It's just still weird saying that. But those are the only ones ahead of him.
Williams.
And James Cook's going to be there. And his 1 week is going to be on the road in Atlanta for a Monday night game this week. It's hard for me to be willing to spend too much money. Because I think he might be available in week 7.
I think
Whoever
so
bids
too.
on him might get cut that week. So
right?
I think I would bid way more on him in week 7 when he may show up again if the team that bids on him doesn't do what Chisholm's saying. If you don't have 2 good running backs to get you through week 7, if James Cook, you're counting on him for that week too, you're in trouble. So I think you have to have some depth. What do you think, Pruitt?
Well, so I'm in a situation like you mentioned where I do have 2 guys now that I can play every week, assuming they don't get hurt or something, but can't predict that. But yeah, do I have Blake Corum and Rashard Smith on my bench doing nothing for me now. I could go after one of these guys, but I think I may be able to get Travion Henderson. I may be able to get James Cook. Who else is out there? There's a couple more from the team that got cut this week. I don't know if I need them for the next couple weeks, so why not save my money? And
that's the other thing.
There's going to be other James Cook-like guys. Yeah, that'll be cheaper in 2 weeks, and they'll be past their bye weeks. So
that's right.
One of my strategies, I kind of screwed up and drafted Jalen Warren, not realizing he had the same bye week as Bijan, but once I knew I had Bijan on my team, my strategy became, throw what I had to get through week 5, and then I'm golden, right? I got a great running back for the rest of the season that I know I can plug in there every week. So I think it opened up more options for me. But like you're saying, Chiz, I got to be careful that I'm not jumping too early on a guy that I'm not going to be able to use every week.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially after he just laid an egg.
Yeah, he just laid an egg. And Derrick Henry's laid 4 straight eggs, really. So I think Derrick Henry's in your league.
That's
available. Again, you're bidding 1 week, and then he's going to be on bye as well. 100 is like what I do with Derrick Henry. Maybe a couple hundred on James Cook at most. But if you passed bye week and you had a good situation, you'd probably easily go for over 3. And I know other podcasts will kind of talk about not spending that much money, but if you want a good guy, top 4 back is someone that you would spend the money on, and that can help kind of seal a deal. You need a lot of in-game players, but they get cheaper at the end too. So you can get those guys for 75 to 125 later weeks. It just kind of depends on what you need to do.
If I've got a guy, let's just say I wish I had this guy. I got Justin Jefferson this week. He's on a bye. I got Nico Collins this week. He's on a bye. I need wide receiver, man.
Yeah.
You got any answers for me?
So
I'm in trouble.
So on who's available, right? So I think there's a couple guys out there that could be pretty good. The ones I feel best about. So I'll give a list of people, but I'm going to start with the 2 that I think have the best shot of giving you some points. Sterling Shepard for Tampa Bay, and because Mike Evans probably is going to be back this week, and then Emeka Egbuka's there, Chris Godwin's there. I got it. But there's a connection there, and Sterling Shepard's been targeted multiple times each game every week. Former teammate of Baker. He trusts him. So I think Sterling Shepard's a good one to look at. He's going to be widely available. You'll be able to get him and fill him in. And the other one I like personally is Xavier Legette. So he came back this past week from a hamstring injury.
He had a kind of a breakout game last week.
He did. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a breakout. I mean, he was getting targeted and got the ball. And that's kind of what
for
you
him,
want,
it's
though.
A breakout game.
For him, it's a breakout, especially when he come from zeros. What I like the most is his matchup is Dallas. Carolina versus Dallas.
Woo! So I feel like it's Carolina, Dallas. Dexter's going to be covering him because that's what Dallas's secondary looks like right now.
It is. It's going to be broken knee.
I mean, Dexter is. Let me tell you guys, he's sneaky quick, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you match up. I don't know how you match up.
Legette may have a step
Legette.
on me every now and then. He might get me on his cuts. So I like Shepard and Legette the best at wide receiver. Who do you guys like? You got anybody you're eyeballing this week on the waiver wire?
I'll tell you who I like. I like Trey Tucker. So Trey Tucker, who I just mocked in the last segment, I like him. He's only owned by 45% of people in our league. Well, I'm sorry, in all leagues, not just in our league. Because if he was owned by anyone, it would be 100% in our league. Because he is owned by 45% of leagues, and he is one of those guys that shouldn't get the ball as much as he does. But again, I think Gino just likes him. He seems to have that connection, and there's some of these things are a little bit inexplicable. He's gotten a lot of points this season. He started out as the 200th ranked player, and he is now
he's got that starting spot,
player.
Right? So wide receiver 2 in any offense.
Trey
is
Tucker is
good.
the guy that I would be looking at. Yep, and he's widely, not widely, but more than 50%. You could get him.
Yeah, for sure.
Keyshawn Butte. That's who Pruitt was talking about earlier.
Yeah, so Troy Franklin is available in a lot of leagues. Plays for Denver. He's had a pretty good last few weeks. They're playing the Jets this week, and the Jets are not great. Let's be honest.
No, they're not.
They've got Sauce Gardner.
That's right, 0 in the win column.
Sauce Gardner's decent. He's a good cornerback, but he's going to be lined up with Sutton most of the time this next game. So guys like Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin are probably available in your league. Only 29 and 26% owned. So either one of those guys, I think, could step in and get you probably not 20 points or anything, but maybe they get 6 catches for 60 yards and maybe a touchdown, maybe not. Either way, you're getting 10 plus points.
Nice, I like it. So there's another couple guys I want to throw out. Flournoy. I don't even know how to say his name. Dallas. So the guy who just erupted last week.
Yeah, no one did.
Against the Jets. I know, no one did. That's because we even talked before. We thought it was going to be Coker, right? Jalen Coker? Or not Jalen Coker. What's that dude's name on Dallas? We were talking. Is it Tolbert?
Yeah.
Who's Dallas's guy that was supposed to be good?
Tolbert.
And just sucked and did nothing. And instead it turned into Ryan Flournoy. Like, what? How on earth does he go for 6 for 114 out of nowhere? So I don't know if that's believable, but when you look at George Pickens had 2, like, how do you get 3 times as many catches as George Pickens? That's weird to me.
Right.
Ferguson had his 7 catches for 49, so that was expected. But you didn't expect 6 from a guy you never heard of. I didn't. Let me just throw that. I didn't. So I'm not a fantasy mastermind, but if you had Ryan Flournoy picked up on your team, 0% owned, you, my friend, are a genius, and we should get you on the show.
Right.
But
what about Jake Tongas? We were mocking Jake Tongas. If I need a tight end, Jake Tongas is owned in 4% of leagues. 4. That's low. That's a low number. It's smaller than 5.
It is.
So is he somebody that we like, at least for another week?
Well, because Kittle's still out, yes.
I think he would survive.
Yep.
That'll help you survive.
Kittle's still out, so yes.
He's a bye-week Band-Aid, right?
He is. But he has 19 catches, 166 yards, and the most important part for a dude that doesn't get too much, 3 touchdowns. So they look for him in the red zone, he gets in. So there's nothing really wrong with that.
The guy that I picked up this last 2 weeks ago, who's really on the upward trend, is Mason Taylor, tight end for the Jets.
Oh, yeah.
Garrett Wilson is getting way too many targets. Teams have figured that out. They've started shutting him down. So the Jets have been forced, and because they're losing all the time, they're forced to throw the ball. So they had to have another target. He's really stepped forward the last 2 games. He's still only owned in 14% of leagues. I started him this last week.
Yeah,
he had 17 points in week 5. Right? 9 catches.
Yeah, you should throw him right in the flex immediately.
So, I started
with that one.
him and Ferguson this week. Made out like a bandit.
Yeah, Harold Fannin Jr. is another one that could be pretty good. So he's got 21 catches, 173, and a touchdown. And he just keeps getting looked at. And Dylan Gabriel is someone that I got to believe is going to be throwing to tight ends. Again, I don't necessarily love the matchup at Pittsburgh this week, but Pittsburgh's not that scary either when you get down to it. So I think Harold Fannin could be a nice Band-Aid for the week as well at tight end. All right, running backs. Gentlemen, who do you got for running back?
I like it.
You got anyone on the list that you're eyeballing? Help some folks out?
So this week,
there we go.
Because
that's kind of the most obvious one. I think Kendre Miller is not a bad one. Tyler Algier, Brashard Smith again. Those are kind of some other ones that you could throw some spaghetti on the wall.
Not even Homer. Only owned in 39% of the leagues. Kareem Hunt, and not because Kareem Hunt's going to get fed a lot, but Kareem Hunt gets fed a lot on the goal line.
Yeah.
So if you are, betting on the Chiefs and the Lions, I'm thinking is going to be the over. So I think there's probably going to be a lot of scoring in that game. I could see Kareem Hunt getting into the end zone. He's only owned 39% of leagues, so it could be.
It's very surprising he's that low. I didn't think he'd be that low. So
yeah.
That's a deck strategy, I know, is to look for high-scoring teams, high-scoring games, and pick up whoever's available, right? If you're throwing a flyer out there, you want a guy for the Chiefs or Lions. You don't want a guy for the Jets or Browns, teams that aren't scoring
That's
points.
Right.
If you're going to take a run at somebody, take a run at somebody that could score a touchdown.
Yeah, because it can even be better than like if you're like me and you have the number 1 and only really running back for the Tennessee Titans. So what? Tony Pollard, he gets a lot of carries. He's not scoring a lot, so I'd much rather look at one of these guys on a high-scoring team.
That's a lot of work for
a few carries.
6 or 7 points.
That's right.
Yeah, and Tajay Spears is probably going to be getting more involved as we move forward, too, for Tennessee.
Yeah, he's back
if you're
now.
a Pollard owner, that's the thing. So he's not going to get more carries with Tajay Spears around. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But those are some shrewd moves, bye-week Band-Aids that can get you through. Quarterbacks, there's probably better ones out there, but the ones that nobody owns, Dylan Gabriel, Spencer Rattler, Cooper Rush, Joe Flacco, I don't feel really comfortable with any of those dudes. Probably the best one, Spencer Rattler, just because he doesn't turn the ball over. He's not going to go backwards. But he also doesn't throw too many touchdowns. So it's kind of, what do you do with this? Quarterbacks are a little skinny, but there's also, if you're really counting on Carson Wentz to carry you and he's on bye, or CJ Stroud, you're probably already hurting there. So hopefully you got a better guy that's available in your league other than those four.
With only 2 teams on bye this week, you shouldn't be hurting a quarterback, but there are a few options available.
Yeah, I believe week 8 is the one that's going to shred people.
Let's talk picks.
Let's do it. All right. So you want to go through our sleepers and spuds first, or you want to jump into gambling?
Yeah, let's do sleepers and spuds. We're a little bit below what we want to be on the season. So our target is 33%. For sleepers after this week, we're at 27%. So a little bit lower than we'd like. We did hit with Tyquan Thornton this week. So if you got Tyquan Thornton and put him in, he scored 12 points, which gets over the 8.5 that we had as target. We missed with Woody Marks. As Dexter described, we really thought he was going to get something, and he didn't for whatever reason. And we missed with Brenton Strange, mainly because he decided to pull a hammy in the first half. So
it's hip.
Both those we or hip, hammy, soft tissue, something.
Quad.
I don't know. We're gonna be either way. Not gonna play anymore after the first quarter is where we were at. So we would have had 3 if people did what they should have, but we only ended up with 1. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this week and who we got. We'll start with you, Pruitt. Who do you see being a sleeper? And our target for this week has to be 35% or less owned in our leagues, and target of 9 points or more. So this is a very, very difficult bar to get over here. 9 points or more, 35% or less owned.
Yep. So the last 2 weeks, Mason Taylor fits that bill. I'm taking him again. It's a tougher matchup at Denver. But like I said, the Jets are going to be behind most games. They're going to be forced to throw the ball. And they've been finding him a lot. He's their second most targeted guy behind Garrett Wilson. So, and he's going to be matched up with Patrick Surtain this week. So I like Taylor again. 5-6 catches. I think he easily gets to 10 points.
Nice.
Good. How about you, Dex? Who you got your eye on?
We just talked about him as a shrewd move, running back, but Haskins for the Chargers is really not owned at all. I think 3%, but he's going to get the starting gig against a terrible Miami defense. Just gave up 200 yards to Rico Dowdle. Now, I don't think he's going to get 200 yards. He's not as good. And frankly, the line is really bad for the Chargers right now. But if Joe Alt comes back, that would help. But regardless, Haskins should get the lion's share. And if he pops his head in the end zone once, again, Miami, not going to stop them very often. I think that's a good bet for this week to get over 9-point threshold that we're looking at this week. So Hassan Haskins, Chargers running back. How about you, Chiz? Who we got?
Well, I am going to a battle of the game that you don't want to watch. We're going to have the Titans playing the Raiders. So,
woo! How much popcorn going to be sold for that one?
Riveting competition
football,
there.
Right? But at least it's in Vegas, so you can go gamble afterwards. So
that's right.
Hopefully, if you're there, you are going to pick up one Alec Iomanor. Not because he is incredible, but because I think the Titans are going to be energized after that game that they should not have won. The first win for Cam Ward. I think he's going to get a little more spring in his step. He's going to feel a little more excited. The Raiders, on the other hand, have had a really rough go, and I feel like they just got pasted by the Colts. So I think they're going to be on a low, and I think Iomanor gets a touchdown. So that's where I'm going with Alec Iomanor. Let's do it.
All right, so we got Mason Taylor, Hassan Haskins, and Alec Iomanner for our Shrewdness sleepers. All right, Pruitt, you want to take us through the spuds?
Yeah. Let's start with the spuds for week 6. Our threshold this week is at least 95% owned, and target points is 10. So we're thinking that the following players here are going to get less than 10 points this week. Last week we had Jordan Mason, who was not great, but he did flop in the end zone. So he ended up at 12.2. An amazing 3-yard run to score a touchdown. Okay, whatever. AJ Brown.
But anything against Cleveland's a good run.
Yeah, that's true. AJ Brown did hit. We had 10-point threshold, and he only had 9.3. So Dex was right that Pat Surtain would shut him down, and or Jalen Hurts would shut him down by not throwing him the ball.
They actually passed a lot last week, though.
Right.
They did, and
Jalen would get.
They only gave Saquon 8 carries because they're passing so much.
That's right.
They did throw to Saquon too.
Makes so much sense.
And then T. Higgins, just over 10 points.
Effin Higgins.
And that was, again, he had a touchdown, so that that elevates your game pretty quickly when one play can get you 7+ points.
But 3 for 22. Yeah,
kept
3
me
for
on
22
the
yards
for the year.
Yeah, Chisholm 0 for 5 on
right.
spuds.
Although I'm super happy that this guy didn't double the total that we were aiming for, which most of my picks do. So I'm trending in the right direction, is what I'm hoping.
Yeah, so for this week,
anytime touchdown score for his spuds, you're winning a lot of money.
You're golden.
They've all scored every single one, 5 for 5. Anytime touchdown scores. If you just take it to the bank.
You could use this as a spud or anytime alternate anytime touchdown score.
You have to change the name of this segment.
For one, I'm taking the next one. Yeah.
And we're 27% on this as well. 27%.
Yeah. We've hit 4 out of 15. We really need to be around, 5 would get us there. But anyway, if we hit a couple this week, we'll be back on pace. I'm going to start us off. Baltimore is really struggling lately without Lamar Jackson in there. I think Derrick Henry is going to continue to struggle, and they play a pretty solid Rams team this week. Like we've talked about, Derrick Henry doesn't get a lot of targets, so it's really hard for him to rack up PPR points. And I just don't see him, even if he scores a touchdown, he may only get 30, 40 yards. So it's going to be really tough to get over 10 points for him this week, I think. Dex, what do you think this week?
So I'm going to go back to the well of just beating on. Normally I beat on Philly. This week I'm going to go back to beating on a Cincinnati player. So Chase Brown is averaging 2.46 yards per carry. And he's going to Lambeau, where they have the second-ranked rush defense, only allowing 77 yards a game. You're not going to run on him. So I think Chase Brown, he could just get enough dump-offs like he did last week, 7 catches for 20 yards. But I know none of them are going to come from rushing. So when he gets his 20 yards rushing, it's just however many catches he gets. And that's not something to bank on when you realize it might be Joe Flacco, it could be Jake Browning, and they got Micah. So Micah Parsons might just, decide to cover Chase Brown on some slant passes. I just don't see a lot happening. I don't think he's getting in the end zone at all, and I don't think he's going to get that many catches. I think he gets shut down. So Chase Brown is my spud at Green Bay this week.
Well, here's your anytime touchdown score that I'm giving out for free. I do not believe in Sam Laporta, the door, and he's going to Kansas City, and I think the linebacking crew in Kansas City is pretty darn good. So I'm going to say they're going to shut him down, and everybody else is going to be getting fed, and he's not going to get much. So I don't think Laporta is going to do much this week against that Kansas City linebacking core. He's my spud. Less than 10 points.
All right, so we got Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, and Laporta. All right, gambling picks. Chiz, you want to take us through the gambling picks?
This we're red hot. I will tell you guys, we're red hot on this. This is documented on our website, so don't just take my word for it. But we're hitting 73%, which is really ridiculous.
Despite my picks.
And I thought for sure, knock on wood, I thought for sure we were going to come back to earth last week, but we got some bad luck. Tennessee, Arizona, we had the under 41.5. If you saw that game, you saw that game
exactly what
very
happened.
Easily could have hit the under, and craziness ensued, and Arizona collapsed. So we didn't. We did, however, hit Houston -2.5 at Baltimore, which Dex gave you. And Dex is a little bit of a heater. I'm not going to say anything else other than that. Just check the website. And then I gave you Denver +3.5 at Philly. I should have just given you the money line. Dang it.
And we looked in doubt for a while until the end. Thank God Philly collapsed.
It looked in doubt for sure. And like 17 unanswered points, I think, out of Denver.
Yeah,
for sure. So this week we are going to start off with Mr. Pruitt, who's going to get back on the horse, and he is going to give you a winner.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ride the high of the Indianapolis Colts. They have been torching bad teams. I think Arizona qualifies as a bad team after their collapse this week. I think they're going to be kind of bottoming out in their, new low on team morale and so forth. I think Indianapolis comes in and continues to roll, and Jonathan Taylor rolls for 120 yards, and Daniel Jones proves that he's still can play in the NFL. So I think the Colts roll easily over the Arizona Cardinals this week. They're favored by 6.5 right now.
I like it. Yeah, hopefully Arizona doesn't get like a team meeting, players only meeting, and rally and decide to be good. But I think given the fact that Kyler Murray may be playing on a banged up ankle and they're running on their third and fourth running backs, should be good for Indy. They got a lot of things trending in their direction.
I think that's the other thing is Arizona's really struggling on running backs and a banged up quarterback. So I just don't think they can keep pace.
For sure. And they cannot feel good at all right now.
Yep. He's going to do one or the other. It's going to bury him or rally him. All right. Chiz, who do you got?
Well, I think that San Francisco keeps winning, and I don't know how they keep winning. So I'm going to run to the Magic. I have no idea, how this happens. They're playing at Tampa, so, clearly Tampa should roll them because Tampa is really good, right? Tampa's the man. They're the ones. Nope, this is when the Baker Mayfield cycle continues, in my opinion. So Baker's got everyone high on him now. Everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid. San Francisco doesn't have anyone. How could they win this game? They couldn't. So I'm taking San Francisco +3. Lock it up.
Woo.
Next. What do you got?
Move.
All right. I know. We got a lot of bold moves. This smells like an 0-3 week, but I feel like we might just surprise again. So it's another stinky one. So New England just beat Buffalo. They are taking over the AFC East. They have dethroned the beast. And they're heading down to New Orleans. Lowly-ass New Orleans. He's only beaten one team this season. The lower Giants.
Lowlier.
They are rat. So
that's
Spencer
really bad.
Rattler, I am going to take
is a Phoenix.
The New Orleans +3.5 home against New England. But I think New England's going to be riding a high, which I've seen so many times. It just you just have a letdown game afterwards, and they're going to go and look at this 1-4 New Orleans team with Spencer Rattler and an old crusty Kamara with just dreadlocks, and you got Juwan Johnson, their leading receiver. They're just going to look right on past them, and it's hard to win in New Orleans. I've been there. I've seen it. It's a tough stadium to win in. It's loud. They can't even build a stadium like that anymore. It's too steep and weird, and I feel like I was going to fall off the top deck onto the field. It's so steep, but it's a good home field advantage, and I think they keep it close. I'm not telling you New Orleans is going to win, but +3.5, I think they keep it within a field goal, baby. So I think New Orleans +3.5 at home versus the New England Patriots. That is my pick. Lock it up. Go buy a yacht.
I like it.
We got Indy -6.5. We got New Orleans +3.5 and San Fran +3.
Bold move, Cotton.
Woo! And so let's see what we can do. Like I said, we're hitting 73% on the season. Let's see if we can keep that rolling into another week. All right, gents. I think that is a wrap unless you got anything else. Any bonus topics, alibis before we sign off?
No, just keep your head. Keep your heads, folks. Keep your heads, because this is a really tough, difficult time of the season, headed into bye weeks. You can do it. Make the shrewd moves. Listen to us. I think most of the time, we're going to give you a better chance to survive.
Shout out to my boss Brett that participated in the league this year. He had CeeDee Lamb go down.
Thanks, Brett.
CeeDee Lamb went down. He had a season worst performance out of James Cook. He took a 0 from Zach Ertz. Just a lot of bad things happened this week. Probably didn't deserve to get cut, but that's the way Gio rolls sometimes. So
it is.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up. Until next week, folks, keep your heads and stay shrewd.